With volleyball, we're joined by head coach Allison Lawrence and junior setter Carly Anderson, the Big Sky Conference Player of the Week. Coach, let's just start with you. You closed non-conference season this weekend in South Carolina, got a couple wins, your best non-conference record in 17 years. Just kind of maybe take people through just kind of the weekend in general.
Yeah, it was a really fun weekend. It was great to see the team, I think, put together a really complete weekend. And whenever you travel that far and you're a few time zones away, I think some fatigue sets in. We played super early in the morning. So yeah, there's a lot of factors that we're not managing in conference that we had to attack for sure. And yeah, our first match wasn't our favorite, wasn't our best in terms of our production. And yeah, we just weren't satisfied with how we did. But then I think the response to that and the way we competed in our second match and then bringing it into the third match of the weekend on Saturday morning was pretty exciting. That was one of my favorite matches we've had in a long time. So proud of them. And I think it was just a wonderful team trip in general. And I think it built a lot of chemistry and a lot of momentum going into first week of conference.
Carly, how's it feel to get awarded and honored by the Big Sky Conference?
Yeah, it feels awesome. The recognition is always great, but I think I give so much of that to my teammates. Like that last final game, they all played so out of their minds. I'll point to Paige and Ellie specifically, hit crazy numbers as well as Elise and everyone on the floor. Like I can't have that recognition without them. So,
Coach, to get a couple of these early on, obviously it means that the team's doing well as well. So what does that mean just to get that from the conference?
The Player of the Week awards, yeah. It feels really good. I think whenever you have players that stand out in those ways, and Carly's numbers and our team numbers were pretty outstanding on the weekend, and but we have a really competitive conference that is doing good things in the preseason. So there's a lot of players worthy of those awards, but I think. I think Carly's performance on the weekend was one of the most impressive I've seen from definitely a setter in our program, but players in our program over the last several years. So to hit 342 in a match is pretty incredible. But then I think just it's hard to get recognition as a setter because I think just in general when we think offense, we look to hitters. They score points. So I think it speaks to her decision-making, her distribution, but also just her athleticism to be able to deliver balls that are that hittable consistently. So, and we had so many receivers, I think, in that game, if I'm remembering right, in ways where our passing ebbed and flowed. So it made her job a little bit harder in moments. So I think that's a big testament to her resiliency.
What's it like knowing, like in the first few years, you were kind of non-conference worried about kind of the process, not necessarily the results. But now that you're getting some of those results in the non-conference heading into conference, like how does that feel as a program?
Yeah, it feels really good. I think I would answer the same way Carly did. I think that recognition just goes to our players. There's definitely parts of preseason where I make decisions on who we play and where we go, and there's tactical moments in that. But I think the things that they are doing in the summer and in the off season to prepare to attack preseason are at a level that they've never been before. So their belief and their loyalty is really outstanding, and they deserve that recognition and they deserve that momentum. It's really cool, and they're playing really good volleyball.
Allison, when you kind of look back at just the last 3 weeks and kind of, to go 5-4 at these 3 tournaments, 3 different states, different time zones, all these logistic things, and, to come out of that 5-4, I mean, when you put these together, do you kind of look at this is maybe a benchmark that we're trying to hit for wins? Obviously you want to win them all, but when you come out 5-4, does it feel pretty good knowing that it's more than just volleyball, there's so many more obstacles going into it as far as to getting to some of these places?
Yes. I'm going to answer that in 2 ways. I think preseason for volleyball is tricky to navigate because we play multiple matches in a day. So I think just navigating, there's just match management and day management that's different than conference. And so that piece is hard. You can schedule perfectly, and then on the second match of a day, just fight fatigue in a way where you maybe lose a match you shouldn't. And so I think you battle that. But then, yeah, I think there's there's a real strategy in the amount of wins that you need to bring into conference to help our conference RPI and to help our RPI. Some sports care more or less about RPI, but for volleyball, it's a really big deal. And I think we have a big conference effort to raise the level of our conference RPI, and we all have to do our part in that. And win percentage is the way you do that. So if we can become a 2-bid conference, that would be the dream of dreams for all of us. And so we want to do our part at UM to bring wins back to the conference. And obviously we want to win them all, and we want to win conference. But I think that's a big part of how we go into these things. And then the players have to go in, so they know the pressure's on.
And then Carly, just from the player's perspective, to get 3 tournaments like this, I mean, what was that like, trying to prep for something a little different as opposed to, some of these conference trips where, these are tournament settings, you have to go to different states you've probably never been to. Like, what ultimately was these last 3 weeks like for the team?
Yeah, I think it can always be hard when you're traveling so far and managing school and social things and volleyball, but it's also so fun, and it's such a bonding experience. And I think we have to learn how to manage those games, and coming from club even, like the freshmen are less far removed from that, but we all know how to do it. And I think just tapping into that and having confidence that no matter where we are and what we're doing, who we're playing, we're just going to go do it.
Allison's touched on about how this is kind of an experienced group working together, especially from last year to this year. So how much did you see that kind of pay off over non-conference play, really, to kind of get to this point?
Yeah, I think it's paid off in so many ways. When I first came into the program, I think we were quite young, less experienced. We hadn't played together, and you just see such a growth in our team when we really learn how to play together, when we have players who've played together for multiple years. I just think the chemistry's there. I know all of my attackers. I know all of my passers. I know everything about them. We are all best friends. We're teammates, and that just is really the driving factor of why we're winning so many matches, I think.
Allison, this is obviously the best non-conference record you guys have had in quite a long time. You talked about, wanting to contribute your piece to the Big Sky from an RPI perspective, from a win percentage perspective. So how does it feel to to be above 500 coming into conference, and how far off, do you feel like you are from where you want the program to be heading into conference every year?
Yeah, it feels really good. And I think, yeah, it feels really good. Where I want us to be is to be able to, on weekends where we had matches against teams that were ahead of us, I want to see us pushing those matches to 5 sets, sneaking some wins in those moments, being able to go into someone else's gym in a packed house when maybe their RPI is higher than ours, or regionally they're rivals, whether that's, a Boise State, a Gonzaga, schools like that, where we're going to those, we're the away team in those moments, and we're winning those matches. And I think we're really close to that. We're doing that in moments. And then this year, when we looked at Rio Grande Valley or Drake, or teams that are maybe on paper a little bit ahead of us RPI wise, how are we measuring up against those programs? And so there was some games this preseason for sure where I wanted us to go to 5 with that and push those teams. And I think we pushed them past 20, and those things were really good reflections of how competitive we are. But again, we got to steal some of those to be able to take that next step forward in our preseason, and then be able to schedule tougher and tougher teams in our region. The West is really tough. So if we want to stay home and stay closer, we got to win that. So, yeah.
Carly, I guess I'll just ask, you guys have been on the road for 3 straight weeks. 4 of your next 5 are on the road as well to start conference play, but you guys do get a home match on Saturday against Idaho. How exciting is it to be able to come back home, play at home, especially homecoming weekend, and just kind of be in front of these fans after being away for several weeks?
Yeah, I mean, I can't wait. I love playing at home. I think our facilities and our fans and just the atmosphere of the community is so awesome. It's one of my favorite things, and I think that the momentum we've built from preseason and how well we played in that, even just that last match, I'm so excited to see what the team's going to do in front of our fans, in front of our friends and family, and yeah, I can't wait.